You go further south into Iowa and Kansas, what would you have? You have prairie, grassland vegetation. And if you go far enough west, like Nevada, you would have desert type of biomes. So there are, again, a whole host. There are 10 major biomes. And there are the forested, the grasslands, the deserts, and so on. And we'll get to these one by one when we talk about climatic zones. What kind of biome can you anticipate?
So biome is like a
biome is a plant community. Biome is a recognizable plant community. Yes. Biome. Yeah, how about that? A large distinctive complex of plant communities created and maintained by humans. Yeah, so I said there are 10. But when you go through all 10,
Why do you see down there?
they have what?
What's it down there?
Do they have scrub? Do they have step? Oh, we're not going through those. No, we'll get to those. Okay, in a biome, any ecosystem, we have a group of organisms that have different functions. We have different functions with organisms within the ecosystem. We start with those organisms that convert sunlight, water, and mineral resources into biomass. And those organisms are referred to as the primary producers. They're also referred to as autotrophs. A-U-T-O-T-R-O-P-H, autotrophs. They literally generate from the sun and from the abiotic community the means to maintain life, autotrophs. So the autotrophs are building biomass. Obviously, the autotrophs are primarily our plants. And they build biomass through what process? Photosynthesis, of course. And in photosynthesis, what's taken up? Carbon dioxide, what's released? Oxygen, but in addition to carbon dioxide, what else is taken up? Water and mineral substances, mineral matter from the soil. So your autotrophs make biomass from the abiotic component of the ecosystem. Then comes along heterotrophs. There's another word, hetero.
Is there another word for it?
What? There's another word for it. And the heterotrophs are primary consumers. They're secondary consumers. They're tertiary consumers. They're the consumers. The other term would be the consumers. You have the producers on one hand, you have the consumers on this hand. And the primary consumers are those that can convert plant material into animal tissue. So they're the grazing animals. White-tailed deer, Bugs Bunny, and all these others that live on vegetational material. So they're literally converting plant material into body fat, body muscle, body material. But anytime we see a biomass being converted from one form to the other, we see a tremendous loss of potential energy. So if we start here with 1,000 calories of plant material. Yes.
Yes. Or you can,
What?
you can like zoom out and everything.
Zoom out, but the back row will see. I'll move the paper up now. My penmanship is bad enough when it's large or small. Okay. 1,000 calories of plant material. 1,000 calories of plant material. Primary consumers will take that 1,000 calories and literally 90% of it is lost to the environment as waste heat. And the animal only literally gains and stores 100 calories of that 1,000, 10% more. And the figure 10% is a ballpark figure. It's not an absolute. It varies with organisms, but it's a ballpark figure for all organisms. Well, the primary consumer is a rabbit. Little fuzzy rabbit. And we have a good bird population. Hawks, owls, things of that nature. Little Bugs Bunny may become lunch for somebody. And when that happens, we go, oh, these layers are referred to as trophic levels. And that's an energy level, trophic level. So here we have the producer. Plants. We have 1,000 calories. Next stage up, we have the primary consumer. Herbivores. What's an herbivore? An organism that consumes vegetable material. Primary consumers are herbivores. So with this 1,000 calories, they will literally end up with 100 calories being stored in the next trophic level in biomass materials, whether it be bones, tissue, fat, whatever. 90% of the energy is being lost to maintain body weight, to respiration, they excrete calories, and so on and so forth. Along comes, oh, this is a rabbit. Along comes our hawk and munches down on that rabbit. Another trophic level. This is a secondary consumer. At that trophic level, only again 10% is converted into biomass. So you end up with 10% biomass, 90% waste energy. It flows back into the environment. Well, if the hawk gets a little sloppy here and lays around, doesn't watch out what's going on, fox may become lunch for another secondary consumer, and so on. So you have another secondary consumer. But again, how much of that biomass is converted into usable biomass next summer? Again, of that 10% remaining of 10 units, we have now 1 unit, 90% block. Every time we go through another trophic level, only 10% is converted into new different biomass. The rest of it is lost to the environment. That's why several years ago when we were looking at global population, again, what is global population? How many people live in this earth?
7 billion.
About 7 billion, good. 7 billion people live there. How much can you support?
500,000.
Well, 7 billion to me is a lot. How many can we support?
500,000.
What?
500,000.
500,000. The answer to that is at what level do you want these people consuming biomass? The lower you